So my name's Catherine. I'm a yoga, a meditation and a tantra practitioner for the last 18 years. I've also been teaching tantra and yoga for, I think, around 12 years. And this field of Tantra for women is something that is very dear to me, both in my personal life and my experience as awakening as a woman, and also supporting other women to recognize this amazing feminine power that they have inside and that we all are in a very unique way. So the subject of our webinar tonight, as you know, it is about the feminine values and the soft power of femininity. Now, this is a really very, very important subject, especially in our society today, and something that we at Venus are promoting very much. But just before we begin, I'd just like to speak a little bit about what values are, just to clarify this notion before kind of going any further. Oh, and by the way, can everyone get a pen and paper, please? We'll do a little exercise at the end, and for this you'll need a pen and paper. You can also use your laptop, but having a pen and paper is better. Okay. The beauty of webinars is that we can do it from home and we have access to everything that we need. Okay, great. So what are values actually? So values, they are these guiding principles, or we can say that they are these standards of behavior. But essentially we can say that they are these principles that guide or that motivate our actions, our behavior, and all our attitudes. And tonight we're speaking about these soul values of a woman. So the energies that a woman embodies and the energies that a woman manifests when she's deeply in touch with herself. So when she's connected to and very deeply centered in her heart, these values naturally arise because they are what makes up the kind of the feminine heart. So these examples of some feminine values, or these universal energies that are important for a woman, that guides a woman, or these energies that are characteristic to the universal feminine. Or actually what's really important is these energies, they are what a woman is very sensitive to. And this is very important for us to understand. Once we understand these feminine values, we understand these feminine energies, and it's important for us to understand this, because when we understand that these energies a woman is very sensitive to, we will also be able to understand the man better. Okay, because we know what somehow motivates us and what we're sensitive to and what touches us deeply, and to realize that it's not necessarily the same for a man. And this is what makes us complementary and brings this like amazing attraction between the masculine and feminine, is that we are equal, of course, but we're not mathematically equal. So we are different, but complementary. But so these feminine values, some examples is love, of course. A woman is very, very sensitive to this energy of love. It is something that inspires her and touches her heart deeply, and is what motivates a lot of her actions as well. So for her to have this energy in her life is very, very important. Another feminine value is empathy. Okay, to empathize with the others and to understand them and to put yourself in that person's shoes is what comes very naturally to a woman who is in touch with herself. Also compassion, again, having this empathy and this love and this ability to somehow serve the others is all coming from compassion. Another feminine value is kindness. Also happiness, joy as well, again, this is what, when a woman is connected to herself, when she's connected to her femininity, becomes this source of happiness and joy. Also this ability to nurture both herself and the others. So to bring this element of nurturing into her life and into her family's life as well. And this means to really support and to take care and to encourage the others. Also this energy of togetherness. This is another very, very important feminine value. So a woman can, when she's centered and confident in herself and connected to herself, she can easily create this environment of togetherness and unity. And so we can definitely start to see why these energies, why these values, that they're so crucial in our society today. And another one, as I said, is this self-giving. So she has this ability, if we think about the mother, she really has this ability to give herself to the others, to take care of the others and to notice what they need and to really be able to support and nurture the others. Also, another important one is this intimacy. And first of all, intimacy is an energy that allows this deep self-knowledge. So to create this atmosphere of intimacy, first of all, we need to be intimate with ourselves and to really know how we feel and to know what's going on inside of us. And only then, when we're connected to ourselves, connected to our heart, connected to our feelings, our emotions, our desires, our aspirations, and so on, then we can also create this intimate space with our beloved, with our family, and so on, because we know who we are, we know what we want, we know how we feel, and then we can have the courage to express this and to manifest this. And you know how it is when you're with someone who is deeply in touch with themselves and they're relaxed with who they are and they're confident in who they are and they express that naturally, then you also feel that you have this, that you can be yourself and you can be open and express maybe your fears or your desires or your wishes or so on. So again, this is another really wonderful value of the universal feminine. So these are just a few of the values. We will kind of speak more about some other values later on. But the more a woman is connected to herself, the more a woman is connected to her femininity, because she is a woman in this life. And so naturally, when she's connected to herself, she's also connected to her femininity. Because being a woman is more than just having a female body. It expresses itself on many, many layers, or on every level, actually. And so the more she's in touch with herself, then she will embody and she will express these energies and these values. So as I mentioned before, and what I really want to underline, because it's really very important, that we're not saying tonight that the feminine values, that the woman or femininity are more important, or they're better, or they're stronger, or they're nicer, or so on, than the masculine values. Because like I said, that we are equal, but not mathematically equal, okay? So we are equal as human beings, but we are different. And this is presented in many, many of the authentic spiritual traditions, the masculine and the feminine as being equal, but different and complementary. And this is what makes it actually so beautiful. So both the masculine and the feminine values, they are important. Actually, they are essential, and this is what brings harmony, and this is what brings balance, and this is what brings happiness into ourselves, but also into our society. So just kind of expanding on that idea, because again, it's really important. The universe is as feminine as it is masculine, and both masculinity and femininity, they are divine. It's said in Tantra and also other kind of traditions that God, or however we want to call this, the supreme absolute, the source, this higher consciousness, however we relate to this, it has both a masculine face and a feminine face. So we have the masculine face of God, or the source, and the feminine face of God. We have God the Mother and God the Father. So when God is in this place of stillness and silence and unmoving, then it is the masculine face. But when God goes into movement, then it is like the feminine face. And in the tantric tradition, we call this Shiva, which is the masculine principle, and Shakti, the feminine principle. And both are essential, both are important, both are wonderful, and neither one is better or more important. Okay, and we, of course, we have both of these inside of us, but the path of a woman to really awaken is to really get in touch with this universal divine feminine, which she is an expression of. Okay, so I hope that is clear, because I have seen, unfortunately, in some of these spiritual movements for women, that they like reject the masculine. Maybe not so explicitly, but you can once you start to listen to them a little more, you can see how underlying in some things, and this is not right. Of course, it's just like saying that we reject white, or we reject Black people, or we reject Asian people, because it is essentially the same thing, and it doesn't sound okay when you put it like that, but how it is, and yeah, that's not okay, of course. But the issue here is, and it's a reason why we wanted to do this webinar tonight, and it's the reason why Venus exists. One of the reasons why Venus exists is that because the feminine values in our society in this day and age, for different reasons which we don't have time to go so much into, they're not as important. Yeah, people don't place such an importance, and the structure of our society doesn't place such an importance on these values of love, of kindness, of compassion, of being together, of unity, of intimacy, of connection, and so on. It's more important, if we really think about it, and if we look lucidly, it's more important to have as much as possible, and to strive, and I don't know, to be the loudest somehow, and to not show emotions, and to be physically the strongest, and these kind of things. And this is why Tantra presents such an amazing path for, let's say, empowering women. I don't necessarily like this term because of the way it's kind of used this day and age, but essentially what Tantra does, and it venerates the feminine, and it venerates these feminine values, the divine feminine, and all her qualities. So this is why so many women are attracted to this path, because they can see that it is empowering to a woman, and it shows a woman in all her kind of qualities and in all her light, and it helps women to really awaken and to become this superwoman that she is. So this process of empowerment, that I myself and many of my friends and many women that we have worked with have experienced, happens when a woman consciously discovers, and she confidently, we can say, like, relaxes into her feminine nature, because relaxation is another feminine value. And it's, yeah, it is a feminine energy. And again, it's not something that's really kind of encouraged in this society. It's just like stress, work, this kind of thing, and not this relaxation and enjoyment and happiness and just being, instead of trying to have as much as possible. So when a woman relaxes into her femininity, she relaxes into herself, and and she starts to discover who she is as a woman, and to discover these amazing values that inspire her and touch her. And this is very empowering, because then she discovers who she really is, and she starts to bring this to light and starts to manifest this. And in this way, because this journey of self-discovery, because we all know it, that the happiness and the fulfillment and the contentment, it always comes from within. Of course, we will have, situations in our life which will add to this, but this true happiness, which is unconditional, which is not changing, and so on, that always has to be found from in. So a woman, when she starts to be empowered, she becomes more happy, she becomes more content, more fulfilled, more centered in herself. So she becomes very stable and somehow like not so affected by what's going on around her. Even if she is sensitive and empathic and loving and kind, this still doesn't disturb her inner peace and this contentment that she feels inside. So she starts to have access to this, like we call it this goddess state. Okay, and she becomes this force of nature, and with a very, very big inner power. And by the way, here, this is important for us to also consider that power, it's not something that we gain from the exterior. Okay, so power, it doesn't come from a certain role that we have. It doesn't come from a certain position or a status or a title. This is not the genuine power. The authentic power, it is something that comes from within, and something that the more we are in contact with ourselves, the more we get kind of closer to this universal feminine that exists inside every woman when she lets go of inhibitions, a lack of self-confidence, a lack of self-esteem, self-respect, and so on. The more she starts to trust in herself, relaxes into herself, the more she will be connected to this true power that lies within. Because I'm sure you've seen that these people who are like thirsty for this power on the outside, and they kind of hunt this external power, not only do they become tyrants because they don't understand power and then they misuse it, but also as soon as that power, that external power is removed, then again, they don't have this power. So this power, it is something that comes from within when a woman is empowered in herself, when she is awakened, and when she cherishes and embraces her femininity and this experience of a woman. And this is leading on to the next idea, this idea of the soft power of the feminine. So power, it is a universal energy that amplifies everything that it comes in contact with. This is what the power actually is. And as I said, we can amplify this power the more we get in touch with ourselves. So a woman that has a lot of power, everything that she is amplified. So both the wonderful parts of herself and also the things that she needs to improve. Okay, so yeah, so then this idea of the soft power of femininity, if we think about all these feminine values that we mentioned, like love, like empathy, like compassion, like understanding, like togetherness, like intimacy, like unity, then if we think about the kind of quality of that energy, it is very soft. Okay, of course, a mother that truly loves her child, she will like show discipline and so on, but still the kind of main characteristic of that energy is softness. Okay, and this is why a woman that is very awakened, a woman that is very empowered in her feminine, in the true sense, she comes with this very soft, embracing, loving, warm energy. She's not sharp. She doesn't have these harsh angles. She's not very abrupt. She's not always in conflict with the others. Okay, she is the one that brings peace, it brings unity, and so on. So this is why we say that it is this soft power of femininity, even though it is a power of Mother Nature, because the woman, she is a force of Mother Nature. Okay, so it's extremely powerful. And also this soft power, again, I want to underline that it doesn't mean that it's something that is weaker, that is something that is inferior, that is something that's unimportant, because like we said in the beginning, that both masculinity and femininity, they are both divine. Okay? They are both equal in this sense. Neither one is better, stronger, more powerful, and so on. They are just different, but equal and complementary. Okay, so this is the soft power of the femininity, because of the quality of the feminine values and how they manifest. Then it comes with this huge, powerful softness. If maybe you can think about a woman that really inspires you, but a woman that inspires you in the sense of her feminine power. You will know, and I have quite a few in my life that women that really inspire me, and when I look at them, and their presence in my life, it manifests as this softness, as this nurturing, as this warm kind of tender embrace that is extremely powerful and loving. And this woman, she's like this, a woman that is awakened in this way. She's like a living goddess, because she has this background of feminine power, that everything she touches somehow, it becomes like this. She transforms everything that she touches in this very warm and gentle way. Okay, so and again, another kind of important idea here is that often in these groups of women, then a woman thinks, yes, but okay, but I still want to be like very successful in my career, and I still want to be, maybe it is my dharma in this life, it is my mission in this life to be a leader, or it is my mission, whatever it is. But yes, that's wonderful. But the idea is that we combine both of them. So we are a very super powerful, very feminine woman, combined with whatever it is that we are doing in this life. Okay, so one does not kind of negate the other. We can be both of them at the same time. Okay, this is an important idea as well. And also for the woman, that yes, we definitely need both the feminine energies and also these masculine energies. And some of the masculine energies, we can say, it's this discernment, lucidity, awareness, vision, purpose, willpower, power of action, clarity, courage, let's say. So a woman, she also definitely, she needs these energies as well in her life. Again, so it is about this kind of this right balance, and it is about this proportion. But the way that the path for a woman on this tantric path is that to really connect to her heart, to connect to her soul, to connect to these feminine values that she has naturally inside, and to really awaken that feminine power as much as possible, and combining this with lucidity, with discernment, with vision, with purpose for her life, and so on. So in this way, it becomes this harmonious balance. Okay, so this is kind of this is what I really deeply feel, and what is very important also in our mission in Venus. This is the true elevation of a woman, the true elevation of a woman's condition, is to empower her in this way, to empower her femininity, for her to be an embodiment and a manifestation of these wonderful feminine values, and to have the courage and the confidence to be a source of inspiration of these feminine values, and to really bring these into her life, to be super loving towards herself, to be very kind towards herself, to be very understanding, to take time to relax, to nurture herself, and also those around her that she loves, and also to be to bring these values into society, because we know that if we want to see this outer revolution, it first of all needs to start as an inner revolution. Okay, so for the woman to really acknowledge the importance of these values, because if we as women don't acknowledge the importance of these values, then of course we can't expect the others to. So this is why it's really important for us as women to cherish and to really embrace this experience that we have as a woman, and to cherish these feminine values, and not to consider them less important or less powerful or less strong or weaker, as I know even I did at the start of this path. And it took me a long time to recognize this within myself, and to really embrace this my femininity, and to embrace this experience as a woman, and to recognize that these qualities and these energies that I came into this life with, they're extremely important and they're wonderful. So yes, so this kind of outer revolution that we wish to see in our society, it first of all, it starts with us. And for a woman to have this deep self-knowledge, who she is, and to have the confidence and the courage to manifest that. And in this way, to be this source of inspiration for the others. So if you have any questions up until this point about these ideas. And here just another kind of important point that I know is a bit sensitive and maybe a little controversial, but I think it's also important to mention this, is that I really feel that this is, like, as I said, the true empowerment of a woman. And because I've seen in the more kind of recent feminist movement that, there was one example that I saw about women kind of fighting to have in books, when they speak about the human being, they write him, and the women were kind of fighting that they should be writing her. And I really feel that these kind of details, they're unimportant for like the elevation of the woman's condition. And what is really important first and foremost is for a woman to cherish this experience of a woman, and to cherish what it really means to be a woman, and to cherish her own feminine energies, because this is what will bring the true kind of equality, and this is what will bring the rise of the feminine. Not these kind of focusing on these details, which in the bigger picture, they're not so essential, they're not so important. So if you have any questions or any comments about any of this. No? Okay. If you don't feel comfortable to share, you can also write in the chat if you have any questions there. You can write to me privately. I can answer, not saying your name or anything. But yeah.
I have a question. Sorry, can you recommend any books on tantric femininity? Or any online resources?
Mm, I can recommend an author. There's Margot Anand. She was a woman, the first woman actually, to bring the authentic Tantra to the West. And she has some really kind of beautiful, some of the books she has written, they are this genuine Tantra. So yeah, her name is Margot Anand. You can look her up. You can find her online. And she speaks a lot about the divine feminine, and so there are a lot of kind of resources. Off the top of my head now, I can't think of any others, but I know definitely that she's a really wonderful author, and she's teaching this authentic tantric tradition, which unfortunately these days is maybe not so common.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'll just read out some of the questions here, ladies. So would you say that feminine values and feminine behaviors are the same? Okay, so like I said in the beginning, that the feminine values are what inspires or what motivates the behavior of a woman. But again, when a woman is in touch with her heart, when she's really connected to herself deeply, not just connected to what she feels society wants from her, or what her family expects from her, or what she thinks she should be, but when she's truly in touch with herself and she's connected to these values of her heart, then that will kind of motivate all her behavior and all her attitudes and so on. So ideally, we will reach the point, once we continue on this journey of self-discovery, that our values are completely aligned with our behaviors. So we're totally aligned with our heart, and we will express ourselves and behave according to what our heart feels.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Another question here is, how do you protect this feminine, gently energy? It has been my experience that this energy can be attacked both by other women and men. Also, I'm going into another corporate job and I feel my feminine energy quashed there. Okay, so just to answer this first part, that has been my experience that this energy can be attacked both by other women and men. Yes. Yes, I agree that it can, but also it's, okay, so when a woman is really kind of awakened as a woman and she has this deep state of centering, meaning that she's kind of deeply connected to herself, then it's more difficult, I've noticed, it's more difficult for the external things to really affect her, and it's more difficult for people on the outside to attack her, because they have nothing kind of to hold on to. And then so this is because she just somehow radiates this power, she radiates this force, she radiates this kind of self-confidence and this love and this this feminine power, that it's like people can't find something to attack there, because she just comes with this force of nature and this power and this confidence that people are somehow even a bit you can't attack this kind of woman, because she's super powerful. She knows what she wants. She knows who she is. She's confident in herself. She's courageous. She is like a force of nature, and you cannot attack that. So the more we are connected to that, it's like you can't kind of grip anything on that. But yeah, when other women are attacking a woman who is connected to her feminine and is very feminine, then of course this says much more about that woman than it does about you. And we all know that it's sometimes easy for us to compare ourselves to other women and to compete with other women, but the more we are centered in ourselves, confident in ourselves, the less these kind of tendencies the less these tendencies kind of are present in ourselves. Okay, and then I'm going into another corporate job and I feel my feminine energy quash there. Okay, yeah. So it's, I think it's a learning process. I know in my own experience of leading or coordinating different projects that I also very often had this concern that I was going very much into my masculine and my feminine energy was not being very much nurtured. But in time, I learned and am still learning to bring these two together. So to have the, you know, the discernment, the discipline, this goal, this purpose, this focus, and so on, but in a very feminine way. So definitely these can both be combined. Okay, but it's up to us to be attentive and to take extra time if we feel that that's happening, to nurture our feminine. So to dance, to relax, to take baths, to be with our girlfriends, to do all of these exercises that we know that really nourish and nurture our feminine energy. Okay, how do you protect this feminine? Okay, we've done this. How do we achieve balance between the feminine and the masculine? Is this a constant negotiation process or is there an aha moment? It kind of goes hand in hand, because for a woman to awaken her femininity, it means that she needs to be conscious of who she is as a woman. And it means that she needs to be conscious of these feminine energies. Now, consciousness, it is like masculine energy, a masculine quality. So naturally, they kind of go hand in hand. But I would say it's best in the beginning, first of all, because of the way that our society is, that a lot of women have this tendency to reject their femininity. A lot of women. And even if we feel like we're not one of those, I would suggest even to look a little deeper, because there are always kind of, we have glimpses of this. So first of all, to really accept that we are women, to really cherish this and to aim to amplify this feminine energy as much as possible. And then this will come with using our willpower to do techniques, you know, on a daily basis that amplify our femininity. And the willpower, it's a masculine energy. So yeah, they kind of go hand in hand, but what I'm saying here is that it's important in the beginning, at least, really to awaken this feminine energy, to accept it, to cherish it, to amplify it as much as possible, and to embody and to manifest these feminine values. And then, yes, we will see that the masculine energies, they are also important, but in the beginning, this embodying the feminine energy, this universal feminine power, it's really important. Okay, we have a lot of questions here, ladies. What practice helps to install the values? Okay, we will do one at the end, an exercise that will help us to become aware of the values that we already have, and to help us to awaken the values that we don't necessarily have so much awakened yet. And the final question, in the tantric community that I know, they say that society and all people are too yin, and we have to find balance. Our mood is yin, too much identification with emotions. What do you think about that? Okay, yes, I mean that the society somehow is very yin, meaning that society is kind of very receptive and that they can easily be controlled by the exterior kind of forces. And yes, indeed, that is true. But here we're speaking about this feminine power, which is yin, I know, but this feminine power in terms of true femininity, which is spontaneity, which is happiness, which is joy, which is love, which is compassion, which is empathy, intimacy, all of these feminine qualities. So yes, it's important for a woman also not to be super sensitive and super receptive so that she can be controlled by whoever, that she needs to develop also this state of kind of yang, which is the opposite of yin. It is a masculine kind of counterpart there, or the feminine counterpart, which is the yang. So she needs to develop this kind of control as well. But yeah, the yin we're speaking about is something maybe a little bit different to this hyper receptivity of the society that we live in. Okay, so ladies, let's go on to an exercise. We don't have so long in this webinar tonight. Okay, so in this exercise, before beginning, I'll just explain to you what we're going to do. So we will do a very short meditation of connecting to this universal feminine power, or the divine feminine, however we wish to refer to her, God Mother. However, we want to refer to this universal feminine power. Then we will write down all the feminine values that we have awakened inside of us. And here, ladies, it's important to be very, very objective, to look at yourself even as though you're looking from the outside, very objectively, and to write down everything, all these feminine values that you have. Loving, you're very empathic, you're sensitive in a beautiful way. You have this ability to be very intimate with yourself and to create this intimate space, and so on. And then secondly, we will write down what these values bring into your life. Okay, so if, let's say, intimacy is one of them, what value does intimacy bring into our life? Okay, so what could that bring? It could mean that you're very connected to yourself. You know what your heart wants. You know what your heart needs. You can easily create this state of fulfillment because you're totally connected with yourself. And then you have wonderful relationships with the others, with your partner, because of this intimacy that you bring, and you can allow him really to be himself. You can allow your children to be themselves, and so on. Okay, so that's just one example of how having one of these feminine values, what value that brings into your life. And then write down what that value would potentially bring into your life if you had it, if you fully manifested it, if you're totally confident in that value and courageously manifested it. Okay, so what would that mean? That would mean, with intimacy, that everyone that you met was touched by your authenticity and your honesty and your, that you're so true to yourself, and that you're like so open that they felt that they could totally be themselves, that they felt super relaxed in your company. Yeah, you brought this connection to everyone that you met. Okay, and you allowed these barriers to be dissolved so easily. Okay, so that's one example. And then to write down what these values bring into the lives of those around you. Okay, and then if we had the full confidence in ourselves, what could these values potentially bring into the lives of those around us? And then finally, for 2021, what values do we wish to really focus on and to manifest without hesitation and totally confidently and courageously? And here I want it to be the values that you already have, because on this path of awakening, it's very important to focus on what you have. Okay, not to focus on what we don't have, but we focus on what we have, and we awaken that, and we manifest that and bring that to light as much as we can. And then through this process called resonance, we will just naturally awaken other energies kind of connected to those. Okay, so it's very important always to start with what we have, and to be very confident in that, and to really manifest that. Okay, so let's start with this a very short meditation of connecting to the universal feminine. And in this way, we also connect to these universal feminine values. So please come into a meditation position, if you can, with the spine straight. And we close our eyes, we relax. And we connect to our hearts. We connect to our feminine energy, to the soft power of femininity. And these values that inspire us and touch us deeply. And using this music as a background support, we start now this meditation of connecting to and cherishing the universal feminine which exists inside each and every one of us. Ladies, now please take your pen and paper and write down very objectively and full of confidence all the values, the feminine values that you have awakened inside. And for sure, you have many. To please also write down what these values bring into your life. Okay, so what these energies that you naturally have inside, what do they bring into your life? And then these values that we have, what do they bring into the lives of those around us? Okay, but very kind of concretely, very practically. for 2021, what feminine values that we already have do we wish to really focus on and to manifest both in our life and to those around us? Okay, so maybe we have this compassion, but up until this point we haven't placed a lot of value on that. But for 2021 we decide that we want to really be compassionate with ourselves, to be an example of compassion in our family, in the lives of those around us, and practically how we want to do this. Okay, ladies, that's all we have time for tonight. I hope that it helped you to see the importance of these feminine values, to bring this balance and harmony and happiness, both into ourselves but also into society. It's very much needed, as we can all see, and also helps you to become a little bit more aware of these qualities that we have in our heart and in our soul, and also to give us the confidence and the courage to really be exemplary in these feminine values. So yeah, we've finished for tonight. So thank you very much for being with us. If anyone would like to stay behind and to ask a question, you're very welcome to. I'm happy to stay. But for the rest of you ladies, it really is a wonderful, wonderful experience to be a woman and to really cherish this experience. Yeah, to enjoy it, to celebrate it, to be an example of an awakened, wonderful woman. I think
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We have some upcoming events. I think Kathy's going to post them in the chat for you to see. We would love to see you at some more events and to really join this movement of really empowering women and awakening women. But otherwise, have a wonderful new year, ladies, and yeah, even better 2021. And I hope to see you all again.
Thank you. Bye.